What's up, pod pals? It's your buddy Adam from Podcasting Business School. This is the show where I teach podcasters how to love their show like a hobby and build it like a business. This is a podcast audit session, and I've got one of my latest and greatest pod pals, Jimmy, the MC Kim from Remix My Fitness. And I love pulling health podcasters on here. I'm no longer a health podcaster, but that's like my roots. And I've got so many ideas in that space and a lot of experience in that space. So, Jimmy, welcome to the show, man. How's it going?
I appreciate it. It's I don't know, I can't remember where I found you, but it was maybe a couple months back, like 6 months back, and just been listening to the show, loving all the stuff, the smooth, silky voice, all that good stuff. So I appreciate you having me on the show, and I can't wait to dive into all this stuff.
Yeah, well, first things first, I'm a fan of your brand and what you're doing and how you're showing up in the health space. I feel like in health and fitness, we need a lot more relatable people. And like you fit that bill. Our friend Nate Palmer fits that bill, where it's not like that was my type of vibe. I wasn't like the Speedo model
Yeah.
guy that's like, look how hot I am. And do you want to be hot like me too? It's like, no, I'm the regular guy. And if people say, oh, if he can do it, I can do it. And you're helping a lot of other like real deal people out there really change their lives. So first things first, well done, man.
I appreciate it. I'll be honest though, it's a hard sell, right? Because who comes in, who comes in to go to see a trainer, or like when you talk about your trainer, like the very first question is like how ripped is that guy? Like how, things like that. And I'll be honest, like I'm not like some ripped up trainer, but look, I'm a jujitsu black belt. I've been doing martial arts my whole life. I'll kick anybody anytime, and I lift weights. I do all that stuff. You'd be surprised how flexible I am, things like that. So I like to think of myself as like the average person, and what they can do outside of, if they put a little bit of time and effort into it. So I really appreciate it. It's something that it's something that I battle with other people on a daily basis. You wouldn't believe, it's kind of like, what do you know about fitness? Like, you don't look
Yeah.
like you know anything about fitness or health or anything like that. So I really appreciate that, because I really believe like fitness is like, there's something for everybody. And like, sure, six packs and things like that look great, but I've talked to many Olympians, fitness models, and they all tell you like, man, I look the greatest on stage, but I feel the crappiest
Yep.
up there, and I can't wait to get off the stage and
Yeah.
and like appreciate all the work I've done. But man, I'm thinking out there like, I can't wait to eat the pizza and the hamburgers and all that stuff like that. So you know, and I tell people they do it because they love it. That's what they love to do. And it's just about finding like something that you love to do, that you love to
Yep.
do, what you love to do. And we got all different things going on for that. So, but yeah, thank you.
You mentioned the flexibility. I'm envisioning a Remix My Fitness Instagram reel with
Yeah.
Jimmy doing like the Jean-Claude Van Damme splits, like one leg on one chair, one leg on the other, and like some sort of flame
Yeah.
down below, you know?
Oh, for sure. If we
Let's
could
make that happen.
if we could kind of find if we could find some sort of like emoji to help me do that, that'd be great. I'm flexible. I don't know if I'm that flexible, nor
Like
do
the
I.
Reface app.
Yeah.
My buddy Danny's got the Reface app
Yeah.
action. Maybe make that happen for you.
Perfect. Make sure my kids aren't around, because they'd be for sure like, hey dad, what are these chairs for?
Yeah. Look at me. Outstanding. All right. So let's paint a picture for your shows. I know that you emailed me before and you're like, I'm kind of at a transition point. I
Yeah.
got to figure out where I go from here. So let's paint a picture. So let's say that we're sitting down 6 months from now and you've got it figured out. Your audience engagement, you feel good about. Your business traction, you feel good about. Your download growth, you feel good about. Like what would that look like if we were to sit down and have that conversation 6 months from today?
Yeah, so 6 months from today, it would be great if I had a program, like an online program that I could provide to people. Like right now, I do provide online programs, and the whole purpose of building this podcast 5 years ago was, something that I love to do, but also at the same time, I wanted to make it into some sort of funnel into a service that I provide. So the service that I provide right now is coaching, building programs, and doing virtual live classes, throughout different seasons of the year. So I would love it to be some sort of funnel to be something like that, and provide the information and engagement. So in the top of the show, you talk about like, uh, love it like a hobby, but build it like a business. And in the 5 years that I've been doing this, I love it like a hobby. I really do. And I think that's why I've done it. I have over 100 episodes now on the podcast. But if you go to the show, if I could be real honest with myself, it's very inconsistent. The kinds of shows that I put out are inconsistent. Like a lot of solo episodes, then I'll get to guest episodes, and I'll get to these audio workouts that I want to do, and it's just I'm just trying to throw these things up there to see like what sticks. And one of the reasons why I stop is always kind of like, well, I don't think anybody's listening. Nobody's really saying what's up, or like, hey, Jimmy. I'll even take, Jimmy, I hate your show. Like, do this. I'll take that. It's not even that, So I get like, for like, I get like good, like 3-4 months into the traction every week, start going on the gram and social stuff. And then like nothing. And then I was just crickets. And I'm like, oh man, I'm like, is this even working? And then I'll go back to the drawing board and then come back in with some other stuff. So this is why I need your help, because I've taken another break for different reasons. I opened up a new studio here in Toronto, and it's been, very trying to get a new business started here right now. But I have a lot of episodes in the bank that I want to release. And I was just actually talking to our friend Nate Palmer, and we are going to be releasing some episodes in July, and that's when I want to restart with. But I started off the year with talking about I wanted to focus my attention on men's fitness over 40. But now that I've built the studio, I have way more women clients than I do have male clients. So do I continue on with this trend of like talking about males 40 and plus? And how does that affect like my in-person business? Should I not care about that? Should I care about that? So again, a host of questions going through my mind.
Yeah. So when we're gonna unpack this,
Yeah,
don't worry, I got your back, and I got ideas, man.
it.
And the cool thing about you being in the health space is I've tested a lot of these ideas, so I know what worked for me, what didn't. So we'll unpack that. But like, I want to identify where you're at on what I call the podcasting success timeline. So you are a card carrying phase 2 person. That's what I call the post-launch frustration zone. A lot of what you just said, all this confusion, even like questioning, should I keep going? Those are all symptoms of phase 2. And that's why I call it the post-launch frustration zone. You've launched, you're putting content out there, but it's frustrating because of the lack of downloads, the lack of monetization, and the lack of engagement. So everything that you just painted for me, our job is to get you into phase 3, which is the business traction zone. That's where we're actually starting to make some money. And you see a direct correlation and a through line from this person found me because of my show. They got engaged with my brand. They're commenting around on social, and then they hired me because of the show and that journey that they went on. So that's where we want to get you. All right. Is that making sense so far?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. So with you, we've got a lot of options content wise, but I feel like the number one thing that worked for me that will definitely work for you is this type of an episode, like a coaching style episode. And what I did with my health show was 15 minutes like that. So it doesn't have to be 30. I know time is an issue, is a part of the issue. So like, I've got one of my clients that sets aside a 1 hour block. And this is actually what I did with my health show. I set aside one 1 hour block per month. And I had 4 15-minute segments that people could book into. I just went back to back to back to back. And those were 4 15-minute coaching style episodes. Now, what we do with those, what I did was I added them as I started off adding them as the back segment of a regular episode. So I would do a solo episode for 30 minutes or a guest episode, and then be like, and here's our coaching segment of the week. Boom, 15-minute at the end of that. That way I'm only editing one show, and the social media is the same. It's no extra stuff. Now, eventually I realized that these were working so well, I needed to make it its own thing. So I made it like a Friday episode, like I do with my podcast Audit. So I was doing 2 episodes per week, or you could make this every other week is the episode. So you could block off a half an hour per month and go, all right, I have 2 15-minute coaching episodes. One week I'm going to do an interview or a solo episode. The next week is the coaching, and then alternate, ping, ping, ping. And we got content. But I want you to show off your coaching. I said this to Nate too. I'm like, you're an excellent coach. You're producing great results. Let's show it off on the show. And like, that's exactly what we're doing here. Like, that's why this works so good. Not just because it's like Do people that sit in your seat when they do a podcast audit hire me? Yeah, a lot of people do. But that's not the point. The point is me showing off to everybody that's tuning in my skills, me thinking on my feet, me helping real life people with real life podcaster problems. That's what I want. That's the main goal. And the more of that you put out on your show, the more expert positioning you have, you'll notice people kind of jumping the line in your customer journey. All of a sudden, it's like they've binge listened to all these episodes. They sign up for one of these sessions and they're going, yo, Jimmy, just so you know, like I need to jump into one of your programs. So let's save some time to talk about that at the end. And that's real life stuff that happens when we do these types of episodes. So
Right.
I need to make sure, obviously, we got to be aware of your time. So I think batch recording, something like that, you could do it 1 hour every other month where you have them and you've got a little stockpile ahead. And these are easy to edit. These aren't over edited. They're short. They're sweet. It's easy to do, like intro, outro. I don't edit. Like unless your wife comes in and starts yelling at you, Jimmy, or your dog or something, I'm not editing a damn thing out of this. And it's just like intro, outro, little sandwich, out it goes. It takes me less than 10 minutes to edit, produce, and do the video highlight for an episode like this. And it's out. So I've got the audio content. I've got a video, 60-second highlight that I pull off a StreamYard here that I use as a reel. I use it all over social and, you know, tag that guest, put them out. But now with your case, if people are talking health and fitness, you probably aren't going to be tagging them and things like that because that's more like a therapy-based show, same sort of vein. Like they're not going to want all their stuff out there. So you may use first name only or do audio only or whatever. But and that's the next natural question is people are like, but what if they aren't like wanting to dive into their childhood trauma that caused them to be obese? And I'm like, we don't want to get into that on this. Think about what is the surface level domino that we can flick over and create momentum. So what is the one roadblock that you can lift out of their way and coach them up on for 15 minutes and really create and initiate some momentum that doesn't have to deal with embarrassing childhood traumas or abuse or things like that. Like maybe they just really suck at binging at night. And you're like, all right, here's one simple strategy that will help you with this. Let's unpack this and let's see if this is doable or not. So something like that. Does that seem doable to you, Jimmy?
Yeah, you know, I actually started doing that.
Good.
You know, a couple episodes back, and again, like I stopped because I was actually talking to somebody else about it, and they're like, "No, those episodes don't work." So it's really, and I felt in my heart, I was just like, "No, I feel like this gets to show my expertise and like to think on my feet, and to kind of hear you say that, I'm like, all right, I should have just listened to my gut and should have just continued on with those episodes." So
yeah,
I
and it takes
that.
reps, man. So here's kind of the timeline of what to expect. When you first start doing these, you're going to have to go out and find people. It's not just going to be like shouting out on the show, hey, anybody, you know, all comers, go and sign up. You're going to hear crickets, all right? Because people don't know what it is. So you're going to have to go out and recruit a few clients, like grab some of your clients, you know, people that know, like, and trust you already, or family members, friends, whatever. Explain what it is and say, we're going to record some content, do 2 or 3 of those and just get it out on the show. But then you, in the intro and outro, sponsor the show with how to sign up for one of these if you want to do one. And then you'll start to notice people are popping on your calendar and they're actually showing up and you're doing interviews together. And then for me, it was about 6-7 months of releasing these every single week. You know, then, you know, if I've got 30 plus podcast audits out there in the wild, so potentially somebody could have listened to all 30 of them. That's when I started having people showing up going, like they wanted to hire me and talk about hiring me before we even did the thing. Like at the beginning, we pop on like, hey, you know, I just want to make sure we can get set up after the episode. So and it's like totally weird. I'm trying to get them to not talk about it while we're live and recording. I'm like, don't say that while we're actually recording. I don't want people to think this is some big like recruiting call. It's not. So that started happening because they'd already heard me coach people for like 30 weeks, you know,
it's amazing.
So you just got to get to that 6-month point of like, it's always just out there. Like this is the most important type of episode that I do, bar none, because it helps with engagement. I'm pulling somebody that's an actual listener onto the show and creating content together. So the questions that Jimmy Kim has are the same questions that my average super fan has. Like the problems you're dealing with, same problems that they have. So it's excellent for engagement and relatability. It's excellent for downloads because of the relatability. These are my most downloaded episode. Like the Jimmy Kim episode will do better if I have like Pat Flynn on or anybody like that. You'll do twice as many downloads because people never miss these, even though I talk about the same thing kind of over and over again, just from a different angle.
That's exactly what I was about to ask you, because I imagine someone comes in and they says, well, I'm struggling with weight. Generally there's only like, 1 to 3 or 4 types of answers I can give, but I guess you're saying like people still kind of want to hear that.
Well, and you ask them about your situation. So your situation is different. Like you just opened a fitness studio in Toronto. You've got all these things going on and you have a little bit different angle from your frustration points. And we have to unpack that. Do I talk about doing coaching style episodes or community style episodes a lot? Yeah, probably 90% of the time, but it's always a different application. And that's going to hit your audience a little bit different each time. Does that make sense?
No, it makes total sense.
So like, unpack what their job is, their family situation, like somebody that's dealing with weight loss that has kids versus doesn't have kids, totally different situation. If they work the night shift versus traditional work hours, or they're an entrepreneur, totally different situation.
Right.
So I think you can approach strategies and really show off your versatility as a coach from all those different angles. So yeah, these help with engagement. They help with the downloads. And obviously with monetization, because of the expert positioning, this is the start. This isn't the start, but this is the second leg of the funnel. Here's the funnel for everybody out there taking notes. First step in the funnel, somebody finds your show and they get into your brand. Now I guess the second step, then I'm already correcting myself. I mean, I don't edit this just because I'm a real person. So first step, they find the show, they start binge listening. Second step, they've heard you several times doing these coaching style episodes. They go, you know what? I just need to bite the bullet and do one of these. They're free. I need to do this. I need Jimmy's help. So they've heard several, they sign up, they come and experience you in real life as a coach. And they experience that momentum because you're going to give them some homework and you give them some action steps. And they're going to, if they do those action steps, they experience momentum and they realize that you're their go-to person for the next step or to go to the next level. If they don't take action on their own, hopefully they realize how important coaching and accountability for implementation is. And guess who their guy is? You. So that's the funnel for what I call a community to client bridge. Like that's what we're trying to build here. But again, it's a longer play. It's a relationship building play. It's not like a quick Facebook marketing funnel or webinar funnel type of thing. But once you've got this, like right now, I've got this huge like cache of content and people are binge listening to these Friday episodes. So they come to the table. Like you and I have interacted a bunch of times before we got to this, like we've on social and you've been to Pod Pals a couple times. Like I know about your brand, you know about my brand. You've listened to the show. I've listened to your show. Like there's some familiarity there. And that's the magic of putting out this type of content. Does that make sense?
No, 100% makes sense.
And whoever told you these don't work, they probably did 1 or 2 of them and they just didn't have the patience. This is a 6 to 9 month play here. For sure. You invest that time and you reap the rewards big time. Like my coaching roster is full, man. Like it's always full. And it's not because I'm closing every single person that sits in that seat, but a lot of the people that just listen to these episodes are freaking out and going, I got to get in. We got to do this. So, so that is something that I feel like is a definite. Now, you made the comment that I'm very intrigued about these like audio workouts. I think there's potential here because this is different. And the immediate example that I thought of were all my friends in the meditation space. Like anything, like that's the way I would view it. Is it's really consumable. It's like real, like people show up for that. And, it's just like doing like a P90X workout or doing, like that is something that is unique. There aren't a lot of people doing that. I've never heard of anybody doing that from a podcasting perspective, but like these meditation based shows really crush it. And what I would do, anytime you produce a unique episode like that, you have to think, what is the benefit for the audience? I think that's obvious. Like they're getting this cool content that doesn't exist out there, and it's an opportunity to get their momentum going. But also, what's the benefit to your business, or how can we use this to benefit your business? So, what I would do is I call it a workshop week, or you call it like a sprint week or whatever. And I would go Monday through Friday or Monday through Sunday, almost like boot camp week. That's what I would call it, boot camp week, where you do an audio workout for X amount of days in a row and do a little challenge. And then that parlays into a coaching offer, or, I always call it the what happens next. Like, what is the what happens next offer, or how do we answer the what happens next question with our offer? So I like that a lot. And that's something you could do once a quarter or whatever. You do a little boot camp week where it's all audio workouts and you pitch into whatever program you want to pitch into. I used to do this with Facebook group challenges where I created an online course, and I would just create a course for different pain points. Dude, I did several $10,000 plus launches off these little. The first one was a $37 course. I didn't do a 10K launch with that. I ended up making like $4,000, but I was thrilled. That was the first time I ever made any money online.
Yeah.
It took me 3 years to figure out how to do it, but I did a little challenge. I called it the Hello Abs Challenge, and you'll be proud of this. My marketing had, like, those name tag stickers. They're like, "Hello, my name is." It was that. I was like, "Hello, my name is Abs," and so we did the Hello Abs Challenge in my Facebook group for 5 days, free. I did a little ab workout, whatever. And that was kind of like the Trojan horse. What I really want to talk to them about was mindset and habits. So we did the challenge for free, and then I pitched into a $37 course that was, I think, 14 days long, where we did ab workouts, but it was all a little bit of nutrition, a little bit of mindset stuff. And we sold 100 and something of those. So I made about $4,000. And then I was like, all right, what are other pain points that we could talk about, or goals? Like the abs, of course. I did a mobility challenge where a lot of people just hurt all the time. And I know you're big into taking care of your body, so this could work really well for you. And I did 5 days of foam rolling, stretching, mobility stuff, all like the supple leopard stuff that we all love.
Yeah.
And then I increased the challenge. The course was then off the back edge was a 28-day course, a new video each day. And I raised the price to $97, and I sold like 114 of those. So that was my $11,000 launch. Boom, right there, all in one big, all at once. And that was awesome. That was the first time I made 10 grand online. I was like, okay. And now how do we repeat this? So I would, once a quarter or so, I would just identify a pain point or a really serious fitness goal, create a little course or paid bootcamp program, and go, all right, what's the challenge that is the intro to that, or the momentum initiation phase of that, and then sell into the course. And it went really well. So I think you could do the same thing. You could even do tandem, like you could do lives and the audio or whatever. But I mean, for limiting time, I think the unique perspective is the audio workouts. Like that's special. That's unique. You're going to get people binge listening to your show. I think this is a really good idea, man. Like I would definitely do it. How do you like the idea of using it to ramp up into an offer?
Well, I mean, that was like kind of like that was the goal, right? So I initially made these because I grew up listening to like tapes. I was a fat kid, right? So I was listening to like workout tapes and things like that. And I got a lot of use to that because I was I'm my user. I was thinking like someone who is kind of shy to go to the gym, to try different stuff, who maybe already know how to do the moves. Is just they don't know how to put it together. So I was thinking almost like to put these together and then sell it into like a course, right? So I had like a leg day, I had like an upper body day, I had a core day, and I was releasing them every other week. And then if it was gonna hit off, I was gonna be like, all right, you can buy it, like almost kind of like buying like an album or something like that, right? Like 12 tracks or whatever it is. And that was the plan for that.
Yeah, I think you need to dive deep into that idea. And like something, I would aim for something in that $97-ish level that works really well in the fitness space, especially if you're kind of hands off and they're going through it on their own. Like that's going to be really solid. So, yeah, I would spend some time on that. I think that's going to be, there's something there. It's worked for me, and I think it could work for you. Now, one other last thing, I know we're running short on time, but I definitely want to cover this, is the target audience.
Yeah.
Okay. For whatever reason, I always had a really hard time in the health and fitness, especially weight loss space, with acquiring male clients.
Mm.
And the reasoning I came up with was like, dudes are hard-headed. Male ego is a real thing. We like to hide in our basement and work out in secret and come out and not admit that we ever got any help. Like that's like the typical guy. Now, is that everybody? No. I don't want to paint every man with a brush like that. But that, 80% of my clients at my gym were female, over 40. With my online coaching clients, my courses, my challenges, it was always over 80%. And they were my best clients. They were very easy for me to coach. So I probably wouldn't dive into the men over 40, like just the over 40 demographic. I think you could crush it with that, but I would open it up, because I think you're going to miss opportunities. It seems like female in the fitness space, they want to bring their friends along, especially if you do like these little boot camp challenges and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You get somebody that's a super fan of your show. They're going to go out, and maybe you have like a recruiting prize or something like that. Whoever brings the most friends gets a free consultation or, some swag or whatever.
Right.
They'll go out and do it because they love dragging their friends along for workouts anyway. That's a very, typical thing to do. So, I think that is definitely a better idea to open that up to males and females, and that way you can help everybody.
I think you're right. I mean, and considering like when I onboard somebody now, like in person, I'm like, oh hey, by the way, I have a podcast. Check this out. And then I'm like, there's this hesitation. I'm like, wait a minute. Like I started with every episode, it's like, hey, try to make the fittest man that you could be. I'm like, and it's like going to like Sheila. I'm like, oh no, I'm like, I can't. And then I'm like squirming for episodes. I'm like, okay, what is not like so male driven? And like, like I was the people that are walking out the door, just like most of them are females now, right? So
Yeah,
kind of like what you're saying. So again, like I have to kind of go back and revamp the show and kind of match the identity.
Yeah, and maybe just record an episode that's like, we're doing a slight rebrand, and I really, people walking through my gym, I've got a lot of females. I don't want to exclude them. So ladies, welcome to the club, and just kind of like, unpack it a little bit, do a little mini rebranding. It doesn't have to be a whole episode, but maybe a part of an upcoming episode. And that way it's just out there and it's not weird.
Here's the 10th rebrand of the remix. Like, how many times can I remix this show?
It's called the freaking Remix Your Fitness. You have full license to remix it up.
So if I could put it in a nutshell, so you're suggesting that one, I think the coaching call idea, like perfect and something that it's doable and have enough clientele where I can at least start with them. 15 minutes is great. And then I would love to most definitely continue on with the audio workouts, but you're saying to make them into like little segments, maybe bring them out every quarterly. Just bang them out for like a week and be like, hey, this is the challenge for the week.
Yeah.
Here you go. And then I know we only got like a minute left. What about like these guest episodes? I have a whole bunch of guest episodes to go along. So now I'm quickly thinking like, all right, I got these audios, I got these guests, I got these coaching calls. Are you suggesting like one show a week, 2 shows a week, 2 shows every other week?
Every day. No, I don't want you to ever have a life.
Yeah.
Kim. Okay. I mean, it's going to be up to you on the distribution. I don't think you can go wrong. If you're putting out something every week, I'm very happy with that.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with that. 2 episodes a week, whatever makes sense for you. But let me put this in a pecking order. And I'm going to be talking a lot more about this on the show because this is an aha moment that I've had recently. The most important episode that you can do is the coaching style episode. The second most important is a solo episode. I would probably say the third most important is the audio workout because that's unique to your brand. The fourth most important is an interview of somebody else.
Interesting.
And a lot of people flip that. It's like the food. It's like the food pyramid, and we know we need to flip a lot of that on its head. With all those grains and everything. So, because you think about, we all think coming in, we have somebody on the show and they're going to share it out to all their audience. And then all these people are going to find us. And that's not really the case. That's not the truth. So we're giving up our expert positioning. We're letting someone else be the expert. a lot of times we're guilted into taking these guests from PR agencies that we don't feel great about anyway. It's like, so for my show, what I'm doing now is like, all right, I'm not going to get in some pattern where for years I've done every other Tuesday as a guest. I'm not going to stress out about that. If I get somebody that I am really hot about learning from, they're coming on the show. If otherwise, not going to do it. Not going to stress out about it. My most important episodes are every Friday. I have to release a podcast audit. And then I'm putting out solo content and Pod Pals episodes on Tuesdays to fill that slot. Guests as they make sense. So that's me personally. Again, the most important thing for me to advise you on is consistent weekly content in whatever way, shape, or form. So maybe you have a little, you ease into it and you're like, 1 week it's a coaching, the next week it's an interview, the next week it's a solo, and then you have that three rep rotation, and then you really get good feedback off of the coaching. You're like, all right, do I tack these on the back edge of an interview and a solo, or do I make them a separate episode? And as you start to see dollar signs come in from these coaching ones, that's what made me make the call of like, these have to be its own episode. And I've got to get them out every single week, because I can't not do that because the results are so good. So I don't want to tell anybody exactly what to do when it comes to their content schedule, because I don't want to ruin your life and make you feel like you never get to see your family again because you're just producing content. But hopefully that pecking order helps clarify things.
No, that helps. And it makes sense. Cause I mean, I've had like some big time guests, like Hollywood, people from Hollywood, things like that, huge followings. Episodes are all duds. All of them are duds. So
yeah. And there's value for us. Like, it's cool to talk to fancy and famous people.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, we're building a business, we're building a brand, and sometimes those help, sometimes they don't. All right. Last thing for you, Jimmy Kim, as we wrap up. I'm all about implementation. So we talked about a lot of stuff. What do you think you could commit to? I'm going to ask you for a commitment. Like, what is one simple step that I'll follow up with you within the next 24 hours? What's one of these ideas that you think you want to put a little work into to kind of flip over that first domino to create a little bit of momentum into that direction? We talked about the coaching episodes. We talked about the boot camp workout week stuff. What's one focus area that you want to start digging into, like, as soon as possible?
100% the coaching. And like, to me, that's the easiest, because I mean, in a day, I meet a whole bunch of people. So, and train them. It's kind of, they all know kind of what I do. And I think they would get a kick out of being on the show. So getting that lined up. And also probably that'd be the easiest one to kind of get back into, just kind of like 15 minutes. Here's the call. Unedited right now would be like perfect for me, because as we all know, editing is like the hardest and longest part of it. So
wait till you listen to this, Jimmy. Like, you'll be like, he didn't do it, he didn't touch it. I put the intro, the outro, make my sandwich, away it goes, serve it up. So
you didn't even hear you eating the sandwich, all that stuff, right? So
like, I'm pretty sure my kids were running around upstairs a minute ago, and it sounded like a herd of elephants. I'm like, nah, it's fine, we're good, good. Jimmy was saying something smart. That's what
appreciate it.
So I'll follow up with you in the next 24 hours and make sure that you're, if you have any questions about the coaching style. But I think a good goal would be reach out to one of your clients and try and just get the okay for doing a coaching style episode, and then you can book it and things like that. But I think that'd be a nice thing that could hold your feet to the fire on here in the next 24 hours. Cool.
Sure. That'd be
amazing. Jimmy, shout out your brand, shout out your website before we go, man.
Look, man, I'm not a hard man to find. Remix My Fitness, Google, www.com, on the gram, on the social. Like I said, Remix My Fitness, not a hard man to find.
Yes, go check him out. He's got a great show. If you need a little help getting your health journey going, check out Jimmy, the MC Kim. All right, everybody, if you want to be just like Jimmy Kim and come on the show and do a podcast audit, stop podcrastinating. Go to the website, podcastingbusiness.school. Hop on the show. I want to get some eyeball time with you so we can interact and level you up. All right, everybody, that is all for this episode, and I appreciate you, and I'm going to send you out into the world wishing you health, happiness, and many downloads. We will see you next time.